Hello and welcome. This is episode number 22 of BeekTalk. This is the live stream show that discusses the methods and approaches that one might take when they're keeping bees. My name is Eric and I am the host of the show. Today I have a fun summer update. I'm talking about some of the things that I'm doing in the peak beekeeping season here in the Pocono Mountains. And I've missed a few show episodes, but I'm happy to be back and to take your questions. So I just added a ticker to the screen. Do you keep bees? Where are you watching from? And please comment any questions that you have in the comments below. I like to hear where you're from and what you're interested in, whether you've been beekeeping for a long time or you're brand new to it. My target audience for the show is people who are just starting out or just breaking into the idea of keeping bees. So we have a lot of fun topics to talk about today. So I'm going to start going right into it. As always, my goal for the show is to have an interaction and to help you understand the world of honeybees. So like I said, please comment your experiences or any questions that you have, and I will read them as they are coming in the comments. Also in the comments, you'll see that I have a whole bunch of links, so you'll get a little preview for some of the topics for today, but let's jump right in. Like I said, some of the regular viewers of the show will know that I've missed the past couple of weeks. Not only was I on vacation in California and driving past all the apiaries and the farms and having a good look at those, it is also peak bee season here in the Pocono Mountains. And like I said, I have a ton of details to update you on. The first thing I want to do a little update about is I want to talk about the crazy swarm season that we just got out of. Swarm season is just about ending for the peak season here in the Poconos. And beekeepers throughout the region and the state here in Pennsylvania have reported lots and lots of swarms, almost too many to keep track of. If you're a beekeeper and you lost a swarm this year, please let me know where you're from and maybe even how many swarms you lost. I know I lost probably at least 10 swarms and only caught one back, which is a bit of a bummer, but swarming is a way of life for the bees, so don't get too upset when they swarm away from you. It's actually a pretty good sign of a healthy colony and an abundance of resources when the bees swarm during the first honey flow of the year. But it is a bummer to lose those hardworking ladies. So I don't actually have too much to add to this discussion. I just wanted to say that, yes, there are a lot of swarms this year, and no, it is not only happening to you. Beekeepers all over the place are reporting a crazy swarm year. So that was swarms, and now I want to move over to queens, and let's talk about queens for a bit. As some of you may know, I raise queens made out of local genetics here in the Pocono Mountains of Pennsylvania. I'm happy to report that my local mated and marked queens are now available. I have a link to my website. It's blossombuzzbees.buzz. But if you hit the link that I have in the comments of this live stream show, you will get brought right to the page where you can read and learn a bit more about my queens. They are, like I said, they're locally raised out of genetics that have survived the winters in northeastern Pennsylvania for many years, and I have great success with them. They are not a specific Italian or Saskatchewan kind of bee. They're kind of a mutt because I open mate all my queens. So they start with a localized genetic, but then they open mate with any number of drones in my very diverse apiaries. So you could have any kind of traits coming through in the queens, which kind of makes it fun and gives each hive a little bit of a different personality. So I kind of like it. Let me catch myself up. So one thing you need to know about me and the way that I do queens. I do not ship my queens through the mail. I've found that it's a bit of a messy situation and that the queens seem to lose viability and success the longer that they're lost in the mail. So I do not ship my queens. You have to be in the Stroudsburg area or at least willing to drive to Stroudsburg to come pick up bees from me. I am working on a process that maybe next year I'll be able to get some of my queens a bit easier to get throughout the Pennsylvania region, but we'll have to wait till next season for that one. So if you have a current queenless colony that you've been trying to make them mate their own queen and you're not having success with it, it might be a good idea to pick up a mated queen and buy yourself an extra month of productivity. Or if you plan on making splits, July in our area is the historical time when beekeepers try and make splits to prepare to get through winter for next year. It's a great opportunity right now to make those splits. And if you want to buy yourself about another month of productivity, dropping in a mated queen is your best way to do that. Otherwise, you run the risk of having an unsuccessful mating flight. And another consideration is that July is the optimum time to, now it's not a practice that everyone likes to do, but it's a practice that commercial beekeepers do often, and it is dispatching old queens. New beekeepers are hesitant to do this, and I understand because I was in those shoes for a very long time. However, old queens are not as successful at getting through winter. If you had a queen that you got in a package or in a nuke in, let's say, 2019, and it survived winter, and it lived all year last year, and it survived winter again, and now it's here in 2021, its third year, unfortunately, it's going to have a very low chance of surviving this coming winter. So if you know that you have queens like that are in their second or third or even fourth season, and you're not comfortable with making splits from those genetics on your own, I would thoroughly recommend in July or August to kill or dispatch that old queen and replace it with a healthy, fresh spring queen from this season. That will really increase your chances of surviving winter, which of course is one of our largest obstacles as beekeepers in the Northeast. And of course, replacing that queen with localized genetics is the best thing that you can do. If you've watched the show before, I'm sure you've already heard me talk about the benefits of localized genetics. But for folks who haven't heard me talk about it before, I'll give you the quick rundown. Personally, I think the fastest way and one of the easiest things that you can do to find faster success with beekeeping is to start with bees that are used to your area. If you're buying a package or a nuke from a beekeeping distributor who has many different branches and maybe gets bees transported in from other areas or other states, maybe those queens are not used to living in your environment. If you live in New York or New Jersey and are getting queens that are raised in California or Texas or Georgia, those bees very possibly have not lived a winter that gets below zero. I don't know about you, but here in the Poconos, we get really cold winters, and sometimes it's hot, sometimes it's cold, sometimes it's hot and cold in the same week. So queens and genetics that are used to surviving in our area is really a great strategic advantage to getting your bees to live. So it all starts with finding a queen producer like myself who has been working on these genetic lines for many years to try and bring you the best queen for our area. So if you are a beekeeper watching from, maybe not the New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey area, my recommendation is to still try and find a local queen producer to you. So you might need to find a local beekeeping group or association and hit up those folks to see if they can find someone local, someone good for you. And I just want to add really quick that if you learn from old school beekeepers who have like really low winter losses, they might tack their success into excellent management practices, which very well could be true. But I like to think that at least some of their success is pinned on having good bees that are acclimated to their region. It takes a long time, but once you start making bees from your own bees, you wind up with genetics that are really good, that match your practices and match your environment. So that's something we need to get back to as a beekeeping industry. Like I said, if you're interested in learning more about my queens, I have a link in the comments of the show that you can follow and learn more about my bees. And next, I want to transition and shift gears a bit and talk about something fun I've been doing with a local resort. If you are curious about keeping bees and want to learn if beekeeping is something for you, something that you might be really interested in, I fully recommend booking a beekeeping experience at the Shawnee Inn. I have been teaching and instructing these beekeeping experience tours at the Shawnee Inn since 2020, last year, and have an absolute blast with it. Shawnee Inn is a wonderful golf resort that's located directly on the beautiful Delaware River in the Delaware Water Gap. This is on the Pennsylvania side, but it's located right on the border between Pennsylvania and New Jersey. So it's really easy to get to. It's within a 2-hour drive of New York City, Philadelphia, and a little bit longer for the DC area. But it's a great place to visit. And of course, my experience is something next level. It's a great way for you to get in a suit and realize that you either love bees or maybe it's not for you. But anyone is welcome to sign up for these tours. They take place every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at 5 p.m. And if you can sign up using the link that I've dropped in the comments of this show and learn a bit more about that. I run them all summer long, and they peter off about the end of the beekeeping season, so maybe October-ish. But the experience is really fun. It takes about an hour and a half. It starts at the Shawnee Inn Craft Brewery, which is on site. And that's where I size everybody for a beekeeping suit, veil, and gloves. That way you're nice and protected and you're safe from the bees. And I do want to mention that during COVID, all of the beekeeping suits are washed and sanitized after every tour. So you get a nice fresh suit, nice and clean just for you. And once everyone gets a suit, we hop on a golf cart and actually drive little golf carts onto the private island, which is located dead in the middle of the Delaware River. Once we're on the island, we visit the resort garden and the apiary. And the apiary is managed by myself and my friend Jeremy from Pocono Apiaries. And this is where we get everyone suited up. And you have the opportunity to observe and go into an actual active beehive with me. You'll have the chance to take tons of photos, things for Instagram. You can hold the frames of bees and ask tons of questions, which is a great learning experience, really hands-on, unlike anything else, really. And then, we'll spend about a half hour, 40 minutes with the bees. Once we're done, we get off the island and we'll start our journey back to the resort. And we actually end the tour at the craft brewery, and you'll get a sample of the Apiaris beer, which is made on site with the honey that we extract from those very bees. So not only is this a really rich hands-on beekeeping experience, but it's actually a very valuable farm-to-table experience too. And it's only $50 a head, so I think it's something that's really, really worth the experience. And again, the link to sign up to that is in the comments of this live stream show. And then the last thing I want to talk about is a little update from Mite Fight. And basically, I am preparing to send out the summer treatment box very soon. I'm going to send it out at the end of this week. So now is your time to sign up for Mite Fight. It is basically a subscription service that sends miticides directly to you. Basically, you sign up, tell me how many colonies that you manage, and I send you a box for each spring, summer, and fall that contains pre-dosed Varroa miticide treatments, one that's appropriate for each season, as well as directions on how to properly apply and use these treatments that I send. So this is a great service for new beekeepers who don't really know and don't really have a firm grasp on how to handle and fight the Varroa destructor mite. So again, if you'd like to learn more about Mite Fight, you can certainly send me an email or a message or a call. And the link to Mite Fight's website is again in the comments. So I'm sorry that I have not been around the past couple of weeks, but I'm happy to be back and to be doing this live stream show during the busy season for the bees and the beekeepers. But I'm always around. If you have any questions or comments, you can drop them in the live stream comments even after the show is ended, and I can get back in there and get back to you. So that is my Tuesday afternoon update. And like I said, it's a busy bee season, but I'll surely be back every Tuesday to do this show during the off season. So I plan on extracting honey this week. I don't know where you are, but this week is going to be honey extraction. So next week's show will probably be a little bit about that and my experience extracting honey from over 50 honey producing hives. So I'll be back to you next week to give you a bit of an update. But for now, I want to thank you for watching, and be sure to give the show and the pages a like. But that's all for now. Thank you.